I just wanted to add this little prelude. I recorded this just in the process of me working something I needed to get done tonight for work. Um, so I kind of went off on a little tangent, showed you a few different things, and I tend to work really quickly, and I'm sorry about that. I'll try and be better about that in future videos. Um, with that said, you should be able to pick up a few tips from here, and if not, shoot me a question. This is how to set up a Photoshop Actions to make your editing of your photos go a little bit faster. Let's open these tattoo photos I haven't edited yet. Show you what I got to do. So I was going to open them. They're all raw from my camera right now, and of course they're all sideways and way too big. If we look at the information, they're 30 by 53 inches, which is way too big. So we want to increase the resolution and reduce the size just to make them a little easier to handle. But I already have Action set up over here to do this. This one's set up to resize to 150. So I can just do that right now, or I can show you how to set it up all the way from the beginning. So if you don't see the Actions, go to Windows and Actions, and it will pop up. Under Actions, you want to click these little arrows on the side and do New Action. It'll ask you to name it. This one we're going to say Resize and Rotate, because you can set up multiple things or multiple actions. It just records them in a sequence. So we got that set up. You can set a shortcut if you want, but for now we're gonna set this set it as default because you can set that later. Alright, so now it's automatically recording. So everything that we do to this photo is going to record. So we just need to make this one look like we want it. First off, we want to change the size. It's under Image, Size. And like I said, we want to increase the resolution and shrink it down. Well, let's just kind of guess at a good size here. Yeah, let's do it 10 by 5. Something like that. 10 for the width. Now it's shrunk down, but if you notice right here, that's at 25%. So our keyboard, we can zoom in. This is actual size now, which is fine. That's good. We want it to be kind of big. Now we need to rotate it. So let's go to Image Rotation, and we need to rotate it clockwise, 90 degrees. And zoom out a little bit. Okay, here we have our photo. It's resized and it's facing forward. That's all we really need this to do right now. So you can go over here and hit stop. And you now have resize and rotate set as one of your actions. Okay, so I'm going to go back to how this was right when we first opened it. No editing. So we got all our photos open right here. You can actually do this all at once, and it will do it to every photo that we have. Go to Batch. We want to use Resize and Rotate. That's the one we just made. And we want to use all open files. If you didn't have the files open, you could just go Folder and choose the folder. Once I have all these right here, I could just choose that folder and it would do it automatically to everyone in that folder. But since I have them open already, I'm just going to say Open File. Destination is none. If you wanted to, you could have it automatically save them and close them, or create a new folder and save the copy. But we're going to set it to none because we just want to do on screen. And it's going to go through and do that action on every one of the photos. Now, all 5 of the photos we brought in have been resized and rotated. Now, I just want to look at these photos. Whenever I do my tattoos, what I want to do is look at these photos and see which one's best. Like, doesn't have as much glare. This one's got a little bit of glare here, but I know it's not as bad as some of these others. So I'm just going to pull them up at 100%. And see, this one's kind of fuzzy and hazy. That's for my hand shaking, I guess, after doing the tattoo. So compared to that one, it's kind of washed out and weird looking. So I'm just going to get rid of it. But I am going to save it, because it'll save that rotation and shrunk down size, because having that big photo takes up a lot of memory on your computer for no reason, especially if it's just a raw file you're not using. But I save all those. just in case. Okay. And if you want to compare a side by side, you can pull these out into their own windows. Let's close this up. So the difference between these two is this one at 100% on both of them. This one's actually closer to the tattoo. Check and make sure. Oh, check and make sure I don't have too bad of a glare. Not too bad. These looked a lot worse on the camera. Like on the camera screen, it looked like this was washed out a lot more. But it's there. It is a little bit, but not too bad. All right. Now I'm trying to compare them, but it gets hard to see sometimes. So you can actually go to Window and let's see, Tile, and that will tile however many windows you have open. So let's say you have all of them in their own windows. You go Window, Arrange, Tile, and it will put them all up on the screen. And then you can compare them directly. So this one's blurrier than this one, which you might not have caught just flipping back and forth between them. These two on the bottom are actually blurrier than these two on the top. This one is the most crisp, I think, which is the most true to the tattoo. I mean, these look a little weird, and the glare's a little more pronounced, it seems like. So we can get rid of this one. This one as well. Oh, I hit don't save, but normally you would want to save. If you make a mistake, it's no big deal. The last one that you open should be right here under open, File, Open Recent. It should be the top on the list. So I could click it and it will reopen that file. Or maybe that wasn't it, but it should be right here. Alright, so it's down to these two. Again, this one is the most clear, but I think I'm going to... Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'll close that one. Get rid of that one too. So, okay, so this is our final image that we have. The next step I do is cut out all this background stuff. All this, you know, it's okay, but I mean, it's just a little nicer, a little more professional if it's not there. So I'll use the pen tool because I'm very comfortable with it, but it takes a little getting used to. You click and hold down and drag the angle you want, and it connects from point to point. Now this next point, you just go a little ways and drag it. It takes a little getting used to know how far to go and which direction, but it doesn't take long to get used to it, and I really recommend it. If you use any kind of vector programs you're used to, like Illustrator, CorelDRAW, any of that kind of stuff. If you've ever used a Bezier curve, then you will get it quickly. That one's a little ugly, but you can hold down the option keys and you'll get different options and ways to change this. Get these little handles and you can actually move them, and you can change the angle after you've done it. So that's always good. And you can move these around. That's really the key point to using these pen tools. Now I have this little pen line here, and I can go in and edit that if I want to and change everything around, move it anywhere. However, I'm just going to use it to select around this tattoo. So I'm going to click Make Selection. That was a right click, by the way. And I am going to feather it. Usually you put 0 and it's got a nice crisp, perfectly straight edge on it wherever your pen goes. I want it to feather because I want to have just a little bit of a soft transition, but not much because it's a low resolution. So let's just do 1 pixel at 150 dpi. Alright, so now it has This little dancing ants around here, shows me that this part is selected. See, if I hit delete, it would erase all that. But we don't want to do that. So what I want to do is actually reverse this so that I'm deleting the background. So since it's our selection here, we go select, and that has all our selection options. Modify, and actually it's not under modify, it's just under select and inverse. I usually use the shortcut, which is Control Shift I or Command Shift I. Now we have the dancing ants around the outside edges. So you can see this part's going to be deleted. So now, since I have black as my background color, and if you don't, just hit D on your keyboard and then X, and that will flip them. D is for default colors, black and white, and black defaults to the foreground color and white to the background. Just hit D if you ever need to switch your colors back, and then X switches between the colors. That's a handy little tip that'll save you some time. So we want black as a background color, because whenever you delete on the background, it's going to delete everything on here back to whatever the background color is set to. So delete. Now we go to select and deselect. You can see that we have a nice, slightly soft edge right here. It's not super blurry, but it's soft and still crisp. I mean, this could be a little cleaner here, but I don't usually nitpick that stuff. It's more important for the tattoo and just taking the background off and not distract from the tattoo itself. I generally put a black border around the whole outside to fade the edge down a little bit, but I have an action set up to do that. So I'll show you that in just a second. But alright, we have the tattoo cut out, and I don't really need all this extra arm here. So I'm actually going to crop this one down a little bit. And basically just get this in the center of the tattoo, the center point of the box here. To crop it down, use the crop tool over here on the left, or you can keyboard option is just C. I'm used to using them, and they should pop up on the screen here. Okay, and then once you have the selection you want, hit enter. Okay, now I just need to drop the border on the outside edge, but again, I have action for that, so I'm going to go black border, hit play, and it will, boom, play all the actions I had set up to create this border. The only thing left to do is to sign it and put anything I want to on it. To sign it, you can just pull up a brush and sign your name if you want, or create a custom brush, which I have done. I have one for my signature in Henko stamp, and I try to get it a decent size but proportionate to the tattoo. And since I'm using my stamp, I use the dark red. Position it, stamp. Now it has my signature. It sucks about this photo. A lot of times it's really tempting to touch up your stuff in Photoshop and to go crazy editing it, but you really shouldn't. And you should notice that I didn't add any filters, didn't change anything about this tattoo whatsoever from the camera to here, other than the background and this edge. So not editing the photo, we're just making it less distracting and more professional looking. Don't want you to think that it's okay to go crazy, because I could go in here and fix all the things that I think, I wish weren't in this photo, like these little bloodlines here, which are not going to be there when the tattoo heals. And I know that. But in the photo, for presentation, it would look a little better if that wasn't quite there. And it would be really easy for me to Photoshop that out. See what I'm saying? But I don't do that. Alright, so everything's done. Good to go. We just need to save our picture. Put this one in my 2012 artwork folder here. Name it Portrait. I don't know what number, so let's just jump to 23. I always save this as a JPEG. Boom, there it is. It's ready to go. Now it's ready to upload to my website. Alright, and that's what I do to get them ready to put up on my portfolio and my blog. So thanks for watching.